Good morning and welcome to day 22 of August vlogs. It's just about still morning. It's about 3 minutes to 12, so I'm getting in just before I have to say good afternoon. I am just sitting down to finalise my research for the 1970s Nostalgia Club, which is the August Nostalgia Club. And then other than that, mostly today is just getting everything ready for Tom's parents arriving, because they will be arriving this afternoon. Arthur is at school. Tom has got a day off today, and he and Jasper have just popped to Tesco's to get a few bits and pieces. He wants to make his own birthday cake. It's Tom's birthday on Monday, and he wants to make his own birthday cake. So he's getting some bits and pieces for that, and he's getting some bits and pieces for some puddings that we've got planned over the weekend. And he's also popping to B&Q because we need a new light bulb for the bathroom, because Arthur managed to break the light bulb that was in the bathroom. And at the moment, unless you're super tall, you can barely reach it to turn it on. Anyway, that's what's happening today. But I recorded last night my progress with the circular sock machine. So I think what I'll do for now is send you back in time so that you can have a little look at how I got on with the circular sock machine last night, and then I'll catch up with you a little bit later on in the day and share a little bit of knitting progress on my test knit that I'm working on. So by the magic of editing, we're now going to go back in time to last night. Okay, so here is the sock machine all set up. I've got it downstairs at the moment just because obviously the kids are in bed and I haven't really got anywhere at the moment that I can put it up in my office. But I'm hoping once my in-laws have gone next week, I can set up the office properly so that I can leave it out permanently. That would be brilliant. It clips really nicely onto a Kallax unit. But yeah, I've had a lot more success. I've literally just done the cast on and I'm already having a lot more success than yesterday. Last night, this is kind of what I managed. So I didn't use, there's a thing called a cast on bonnet. Bear in mind that this is the first time I've done any of this. In fact, let me show you the cast on bonnet a little bit better. Okay, so bear in mind, this is only the second time I've used this and I don't really have a clue what I'm talking about. But this is a cast on bonnet. And it took me until today to realise kind of what this was for. And basically you hook the stitches around the top here over the needles on the sock machine, and then you can cast on straight away with waste yarn, rather than doing what I was doing yesterday, where I was actually casting on from scratch, if that makes sense. And that has been a lot more successful tonight. So as you can see, this green bit here is the cast on bonnet, and you basically hook the stitches like these little bits here over every other needle, and then you apply the weight. You put some weight in and then you thread your yarn through the tensioning thready thing, and then you just start turning and it should kind of work. And today it has worked. And then down here you can see there's a weight that then attaches via a buckle, and that applies the weight to give you the right tension. And then, in theory, it should just be as simple as turning it. I discovered yesterday it wasn't quite as simple as that. I think I was having tension issues and various other issues, possibly. But this seems to be working a lot more successfully tonight. I'm just using some grey yarn. This is actually my rain cloud colourway. I had this caked up. This is what I was using for my Battenberg blanket, but I thought it would work quite well for this. And yeah, I'm just going to have a play and see what I do. I'm probably not going to manage to get a whole sock tube or anything like that. I'm fully not expecting this to be usable, but we'll see. This is what I managed yesterday. And as I said, I cast it on kind of using the waste yarn and actually cast it on properly. And it was all a little bit complicated. It took me 3 attempts to work out how to do the cast on, but I got there eventually. And I mean, it looks all right from the outside, doesn't it? This was the issues I had. It kept skipping stitches. But I got in touch with Finn, who's the guy behind Ashcroft Makers, And he was very, very helpful, and he gave me a number of different tips and a few things to try. So I am trying things a little bit differently tonight, and hopefully we will avoid this, but we will see. I'm probably going to record this and then it's all going to go wrong. But so far, so good. Look, I actually have tube coming out the bottom with no ridiculously dropped stitches or anything like that. I am very, very surprised. Camera's not focusing. There we go. Yeah, it seems to be working. You know, I said I didn't think I was going to get a usable sock snake. I think I might actually have managed it. I am slightly amazed. There's a few little bits, possibly, I haven't explored it properly, but there's a few little bits where I kind of slipped stitches slightly, but I think I was able to fix them. So there's no holes or anything like that. I think this is completely usable. Obviously, I need to put in kind of afterthought heels and toes and cuffs and that kind of thing. I think you can do it on the machine. There are ways of putting heels in, there are ways of putting toes in and that kind of thing, but that is far, far too advanced for me at the moment. But there you go, not bad for an evening's work, is it? One sock snake. And I've got a little bit of yarn left over, which I think I'm going to try and use for the cuffs. I'm very excited. It's a bit chilly. I hope you enjoyed the circular sock machine video bits that you will have just seen. Hopefully I managed to record it all okay. Sorry the lighting wasn't brilliant. Unfortunately it was evening, so it was dark. I did have the overhead light on as best as possible, but obviously it wasn't natural light. But anyway, I wanted to just have a quick chat about a couple of works in progress. First of all, I've been working on my test knit. This is the Dance Like No One's Watching cowl, which is a test knit for Lindsay of Stitch Create Love. And I have just, oops, dropped it. I have just added the second colour. I've just finished the second colour. So the first colour I cast on with and it comes up to here. So that's my Kanga and Roo colourway. I'm using my Winnie the Pooh minis along with some mohair, Suri Silk Alpaca. And then the second colour is the Piglet colour. So I'm just about to move into the Eeyore colour, which will be interesting to see how the grey works with the caramel kind of thing. Apologies for the background noise. Tom's just making lunch for Jasper and Jasper's getting grumpy because he can't help. But yeah, it's coming along really, really well. It's really, really enjoyable. A really good knit. So it's well worth it once the pattern is finished. And then the other thing I was going to share is my sock snake, because I am making it into a pair of socks. So this is the final sock snake that I kind of cranked off the tube last night, and actually it's perfectly good enough to turn into a pair of socks for me, which is quite exciting. I've got a little bit of waste yarn on this end which will need to come off. And you might have seen in the little hyperlapse video that I did, I dropped a stitch as I was working on the waste yarn, but I've just about managed to pick it up and salvage it. And that's kind of what's going on there. And yeah, perfectly usable. So what I did is I started off by picking up some stitches around here, because I needed to sort out picking up from where it cast off. It doesn't cast off. Where I just pulled it off the machine. I don't know the terminology. But I did some rib, just some little 2x2 rib. Then I've just worked down the leg to the point where I would normally put a heel in. So I've just gone with 60 rows, which is where I'd normally put a heel in a pair of socks. And I'm working an afterthought heel. I did a true afterthought heel, and I used a combination of tutorials. So I used a little bit of Ellie from Craft House Magic's tutorials. She's got tutorials for turning a sock snake into 2 pairs of socks. So I've used a little bit of that, and then I also used a little bit of the Kirby Werby tutorial for afterthought heels. And I'm just working on the heel. And then I think what I'm going to do, the reason I haven't split this into separate snakes so straight away, if that makes sense, is because I have quite a history of afterthought heels, putting afterthought heels in socks and then the socks not fitting because I've not put them in the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the heel in, and I've obviously got the cuff in already. I'm then going to try it on, and then that'll give me a better marker of kind of where I need to start the toe. Does that make sense? And then I'll pick up the stitches and cut and add the toe in the same way as I've added the heel in. So yeah, that is the plan. This will become a pair of socks. I'm going to have more yarn here than I need for a pair of socks. But that's fine. Considering I wasn't expecting to be able to make anything out of this yarn, it's amazing that I'm going to get a pair of socks out of it, isn't it? What else was I going to say? That's probably about it for today's video. As I said, we're all just kind of getting things ready for Tom's parents arriving and sorting out the house and all of that kind of thing. I've sorted some of the Nostalgia Club stuff. The 1970s is a surprisingly difficult month, actually. There's quite a lot of interesting things that I'd like to use, but it's quite a struggle colourway wise, working out how to represent those things as colour. Yeah, it's been a tricky one. I need to sit down over the weekend at some point and have a little think, and just finalise which ones I'm going to go with before I start dyeing them next week, hopefully. Yeah, but that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all over the weekend, where hopefully, I imagine we'll be having a few days out and stuff like that, although the weather isn't meant to be great, so we'll have to wait and see.